Well, hello, welcome to this weather update. It's after midnight because I wanted to wait until the models came in to take a look at, see what's going on with the tropics. And first, we got to go into the here and now, and we got a lot going on here. We have two hurricanes, and we have a tropical depression Lee here, all right? So, here's the thing. So, we have Jose, that's the most imminent thing right now. So, let's go and take a look at Jose here. Uh, let's take a look and see what's going on with Jose. So, Hurricane Center still has it more or less going to the east of us, but we are now under a tropical storm watch, and that's because of the uncertainty. And when you see the models, you'll see what I'm talking about. Jose has strengthened to a Category 1 hurricane, and the winds are up to 90 miles an hour, maximum sustained winds, and the movement is now north at 9 miles per hour. So it's forecast to stay a hurricane until it's over this warm Gulf Stream, so it's got plenty of energy, and it's not really going to start weakening until it gets close to us. Now, it's not moving that fast, so I think it will wind up weakening, but I think what's going to happen, and you'll see that it's going to become more of an extratropical type of cyclone, you know, aka nor'easter type system, or some kind of hybrid or whatever. So that's what it looks like with Jose. Now we go to Maria. Now Maria is going to strengthen rapidly. It's forecast to strengthen rapidly, and the really, really, really sad part of this is that Maria is going to affect the same areas that were hit by Irma. The islands that were absolutely like almost wiped off the map are going to get hit again. The eastern leewards, they're going to get hit again. It's like three hurricanes in a row here because they were hit with Jose, they were hit with Irma, then Jose, now Maria, three in a row. I don't know if that's ever happened in history. So this is forecast to become strengthened very rapidly because the water is very warm. It's going to take a little more of a more southward track, compared to Irma and Jose, and then it's going to make a direct hit on Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is probably going to be devastated, as well as the Dominican Republic by this hurricane. You can't keep up with the amount of devastating hurricanes this year. It's just insane. And its movement is west-northwest at 13 miles an hour. So, and that's the track right now. And this may be something we may have to watch later on. So we have to watch this too. Forget about Lee. I don't think Lee is going to amount to much of anything. But Maria and Jose are out there causing trouble. So now we've got to look at some of the satellite images for Jose and then Maria, and then we get to the forecasts. So first we start with Hurricane Jose, and you can see it looks like it's really starting to pick up some speed now. You can see it's also starting to get some shear too, so it doesn't look like it was doing really healthy, but now it looks like it's starting to weaken already, and I'm expecting that it is going to start to weaken into tomorrow as it comes closer to our area, which is fortunate. But now let's go ahead and look at Maria. And Maria is a completely different story. Maria is strengthening rapidly. It's over very warm water with virtually no shear, so it's really starting to strengthen rapidly and approach the eastern leewards. It's probably going to go a little further south in the chain this time. Like I said, as you saw the hurricane track, it's going to track a little more further south, and then it's going to hit Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico, almost all the power was lost from Irma, so whatever power they got back is going to be, Puerto Rico could be without power for months after this one. I'll tell you, this is just crazy. So this is Irma here. I'm sorry. I can't keep track of all these storms. This is Maria. It's like I said, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So let's take a look at what the computer models have in store for us with the future, and the future, according to the computer models, is just really crazy. Well, let's start off with the GFS, shall we? This is the 0Z run, and you can see Jose here. And right now, I mean, it looks like it's still keeping its strength. It doesn't really start coming up the pressure until, actually as it deepening even further as it approaches our area, which is really strange. It's just the GFS, but you have to wonder why it's doing that. If it's supposedly moving into cooler water, why is it deepening? Um, that doesn't seem to make any sense to me. But maybe that is because the water is too warm. It's warmer than it should be. It could also mean that there's some energy from the jet stream coming into it. But as you can see, it comes very close to us. Conditions start deteriorating probably late morning on Tuesday with out of rain bands moving in. And then the wind will start picking up here. You can see here the isobars tightening up later Tuesday into Wednesday. And then it really just slows this thing down. It literally just really slows it down to a crawl and almost stalls it off the Cape. This could mean prolonged beach erosion, which is probably going to be the main effect from the storm. And it's just going to sit there, and then what's going to happen is you can see that there's a ridge that's over in the Atlantic that's just not letting it go out to sea. Again, this is not a normal pattern. This is due to climate change. We are killing ourselves, but it's not. Anyway, so it just stalls here. It just stalls right offshore. There's a high building in, but it's going to stall offshore. There's a high building in, so it can't really move toward the shore. There's a high building in over here. There's like a high that's. I'll show you when we look at the wider view here. But this is crazy. So it's just going to sit there, literally sit there and just weaken eventually. And now here comes Maria. And Maria, we have to keep our eyes on her because again we got this Atlantic ridge that's not letting the storms go out to sea like they're supposed to. And Maria, again, it tracks really close to us, and this will be a much more intense hurricane than Jose, and much larger. And Jose is fairly large in the area. It's grown, but this is going to be an even larger storm. That's the thing about these hurricanes. They're larger than they should be. And you can see by next Wednesday, it's sitting off our shores. And fortunately, for this model, this run, has it going out to sea. And we don't have to, hopefully, not worry anymore about any more tropical systems after that. But that's this run. Let's go back to the other run of the GFS here. Oh, man. Because the other run was even crazier. Alright, so it does the same thing with this loop-the-loop thing, and I think it's going to do that. But take a look at what happens here. You almost have like a little Fujiwara interaction here. Is that the one? No, it still goes out to sea. It still takes Maria out to sea. And one of the models had a Fujiwara thing going on. Let's see. They may have been the 12Z. Let's see. Yeah, you can see there. It's almost like when Jose finally moves out, it's going to take Maria. Maria is going to follow. This was the older run, all right? This is the older run. So let's go back to the current here. So I want to look at some of the wind fields and how the wind fields are going to affect our area. Well, let's first take a look at the upper air. And we got to look at that, so let's look at that. All right, good. I'll show you why what we're seeing is happening. Alright, so you can see this ridge all across Canada and into the Atlantic. And it's going to keep, you can see how it's almost like a catcher's mitt. It's just going to keep Jose off. It's going to stall it out and just keep it there. It's not going to allow it to, because it's got this ridge all over here, it's going to block Jose in. You know, originally there was supposed to be a trough that was supposed to come and pick it up. Now, normally, you know, the storms would just be pushed out, but because you can see we have this gigantic trough now in the west and this ridge in the east. So, we have this ridge in the east, it's not allowing these storms to be kicked out the way they're supposed to be. So it's going to sit off our shores for a little while, and then here comes Maria. And this we have to watch closely, too, because, again, we have a similar type of setup when Maria approaches. You know, and I'm really concerned about that one. That could be major, and we have to keep our eyes on that one too as well. So the trough finally starts. We finally start getting more of a normal type of early fall pattern once we get to this point. But you can see the way the upper air looks, and if you don't want tropical weather in our area, this is not a good upper air pattern to have. You know, not a good upper air pattern to have. It's the same kind of upper air pattern that gave us Superstorm Sandy, similar type of thing. Similar, but not completely the same. But it's similar in that it's trapping the storms. It's not letting them go out to sea. So, let's go ahead and let's go back to the, let's go to the northeast, and we're going to take a look at the wind fields from Jose. Let's go here. So, this is going to be a look at the wind from Jose, and you can see it tracking here. You can see that the eastern end of Long Island could really get true tropical storm conditions. And I really see that there could be a tropical storm warning, at least for part of Suffolk County, for Tuesday into Wednesday. You know, you're going to have beach erosion, could have some scattered power outages. The main thing is beach erosion. I think there's going to be a lot of that. And the Cape's going to get hit even harder, and then this thing is just going to sit here and meander like this. And we're going to have to keep our eye on it. It's really strange. It's not normal at all. It's really strange. You're not supposed to see a storm take these kind of paths. Really, really strange stuff. But anyway, let's take a look at what the Euro has. Alright, 0Z NAM, let's take a look at this, and then we'll get to the Euro and some of the other models. Well, I'll do Canadian and then the Euro, the last one. So, you can see here, this is Jose. It's taking Jose up. You can see the rain bands hitting here probably earlier Tuesday. It's a little faster with the movement of the storm, and the NAM takes it really far west. The NAM would definitely give all Long Island tropical storm conditions. This would not be a good scenario for us. And then the NAM also stalls it right there. So it stalls it right there. So if the NAM were to verify, we'd be looking at a significant tropical system. I don't think it's going to come this far west, but, you know, things trended this season. It seems like all the tracks seem to be further west than originally anticipated. So we've got to definitely beware. And the NAM does weaken it significantly, but if this were to verify, yeah, we definitely see bona fide tropical storm conditions across all of Long Island, and maybe part of the Jersey Shore in New York City too, and Connecticut. So this would not be a good scenario at all whatsoever. Not the kind of scenario we need, that's for sure. It's definitely resulted a more widespread power outage event, a more widespread coastal flooding event. Definitely, you know, we got to keep our eye on this thing. For sure. You know, just when you think you're out of the woods with this freaking Jose, it throws a curveball. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at the Canadian. And Canadian takes it a little further out. So this is where you really get to see a nice little Fujiwara thing going. So okay, so you see the Canadian here, and you can see that again, they all kind of stall the storm offshore. I think Jose is not going to go way out to sea. It's going to stall off the New England coast, and it's going to sit there. And that seems to be what's going to happen because there's a ridge that's blocking it from going out. And again, we have these really fucked up steering patterns in the atmosphere that just that have screwed everything up. Same thing, the same kind of steering pattern that screwed with Harvey is now screwing with Jose, and the storm is just kind of like just stalled or barely moving for a little while. So later next week, we have to watch because it could be stalled offshore. And here it comes Maria, and it takes Maria right into the Carolinas, probably as a Cat 3 or even a Cat 4. So that would be pretty bad if that were to verify. And you can see, look, is that Jose still out there? I think it is. Look at that. It still has Jose hanging around out there. That's insane. Yeah, you can see that's got to be Jose there, hanging out, going off the frame. I could go to a wider view, but you can see. Look at that. It's insane. And then it takes the remnants of Maria up in our direction. That is insane. You know, I've never seen computer models do such crazy stuff with these storms, but sometimes the future verifies like this. You know, all we have to do is look at Harvey's track and what Harvey did. Now, finally, we'll get to the Euro. So, let's go to the Euro. Let's start out. Alright, so let's see what the euro does with this. This is the 0Z run, and we only have out to 96 hours on this. So it looks like it takes it close but offshore. This is the kind of track I'm thinking right now that it's going to take. It's not going to move over us, but it's probably going to take a track offshore, which means the main effects would be beach erosion, some wind, especially across the eastern part of Long Island. Nothing too terrible. So anything, it would result to a strong fall nor'easter. That's the kind of type of weather we would have here on Tuesday and maybe into Wednesday. All right. However, we got to go to the 12Z run because this is the one that we have full amount of. So, and this one takes it closer. So it again went a little further to the east. It all depends on the strength of this ridge over here. It is going to depend on how far out it gets, and the trough, the very little weak trough that's supposed to nudge it off to the east. But it's also going to depend on the strength of this high. But you can see what this model does. It backs it up. It literally has it loop around offshore, and then eventually weakens it, probably to just a depression or some kind of weak nor'easter, and then it moves south, it moves south, and winds up impacting the Delmarva. And then here comes Maria, and this model has Maria coming dangerously close to our area. So, yeah, Jose and Maria, we have to watch both of them very closely. Jose first, and then once we're done dealing with Jose, we have to keep our eye on Maria. So, the tropics, this will be, I think, going down right now as far as one of the worst hurricane tropical storm seasons I've ever seen. And we're not done yet, and we're really making history here with what we're doing to the planet. And I don't know how many disasters it's going to take for humankind to wake up and realize we really do got to change our wasteful ways. So that's it for this weather update. I'll keep you posted.